There, Sherman here. I had a question from someone asked my input on the Gary Vee books. So I want to focus this video on the Ask Gary Vee book. Number one is I listen to it audio. I'm an auditory learner. So for me, I can grab a lot of material just auditory. I'm probably one of the very few people that can listen to Gary Vee at around 2.5 times the speed. If I need to re-listen to something, I'll slow it down and I'll go backwards and I'll re-listen to something until I totally internalize it. So for me, the big thing on Ask Gary Vee that I took away from the book was, number one, is despite the business that I'm in financial services, compliance cannot be the reason to sit on the sidelines of social media, which is basically the internet. Number two, and I really where I got it from was one of his videos where he asked people, how many of you don't like receiving phone calls? And I was shocked at how many people actually raised their hand. At the same time, intuitively knew it, because a lot of times when I call clients, they won't listen to voicemail, but they'll text me back. They'll shoot me emails saying, hey, I missed your phone call. So because people can't talk on their cell phones because it is a distraction in the business place. And so oftentimes, though, they can text or they can email me, and that's a little bit easier format. And so what I realize is we're going from basically, in my industry, going from like door to door to the phone, and now from the phone to the internet. And we're basically almost bypassing email in that capacity. And so that could be leveraging LinkedIn to connect with people. That could be using Instagram or Facebook, however you want to be there. The other one thing that I feel is that there's a lot of validity in having a social media presence, and so become very, very useful. And so with Gary Vee, there's talk about having a customer service model, which we do. We subscribe to, in my practice, we call it the supernova model. It's basically trying to give the value that our clients want. So we segment them out, A, B's, and C's, based on the assets that they've given us, based on the premium that they continually give us in insurance products, and then what value we can bring to their table. And then so oftentimes a small client with little dollars doesn't want to see me on a regular basis, knowing that they're behind the 8 ball when it comes to their overall financial goals. However, the client that gave me $2.5 million and is 55 years old wants to make sure that they're on track to retire at 63 or 62. And so there's just a different need and a different way to engage with people. At the same time, what different models are we putting in to make sure that we're connecting with those individuals on a regular basis? And so that was another key takeaway. The other thing from the Ask Gary Vee was to be able to see that we are going to more of an influencer model. When you think about engagement and it's people's attention, and being able to make sure that when it comes to my industry personally in financial services, I want to make sure that I have a voice. Number one, I'm a predominantly homogenous business. It's 78% white male over the age of 56 years old. Obviously, I'm not white male. I'm not 56, so I'm definitely that anomaly, basically in the 22%. That includes 22% female, all the minority groups, and young, so under the age of 50. And so there's a huge opportunity for me to be able to make sure that my voice is heard and basically have my thoughts being illustrated out there to the marketplace. The other thing on the Ask Gary Vee was still talking about storytelling, or basically in my world, just sales. Like, how good are you at understanding the other person you're sitting across from? Do you know their clients? Do you know their concerns? Do you know what they're ultimately going after? And if so, then you can see if your services and products can fit their needs. And for us, that's something that we just internalize. I've been at it in sales for the last 12 years, just in financial services. So I really understand that model. And so not a huge light bulb for me, but definitely the biggest takeaway was, number one, have a presence on social media, figure out the compliance piece. That is not an excuse to sit on the sidelines. Number two is have a strategy when you're about it. And then the last one is making sure that you can be a voice in your industry and be an influencer. What do you guys, what did you think about the Ask Gary Vee book?